Let's go through Klay Thompson because what you're talking about here is if Draymond Green doesn't finish in closing lineups, that's a different situation. That's a different situation. If he's not closing in lineups, then no, he probably won't accept his role. Because part of the reason why he accepted the bench role in the Sacramento series is because he knew he'd be playing down the stretch.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not a guarantee, you may have a different conversation. But I'm going off the premise of he's going to see 31 minutes a game. He's going to be playing in your most important minutes of the basketball game. So, therefore, I can live with Draymond Green coming off the bench, or if Draymond Green can live with coming off the bench and accepting that role. But if he doesn't finish games, if he's not in the closing lineup day in and day out, that's where things get murky.
Well, this is where I think I would say, looking at where his body is, looking at where his game logs have been. Now, this year he played a lot of games in contrast to you. But Bonte, if we're looking for the best version of Draymond Green moving forward, I think, load managing him throughout the regular season is kind of the way this has got to go.
But you tried to do some of that this year, and you lost, and you were a 16, and you barely missed the playoffs.
But this is
barely made the playoffs.
But this is why we're at a crossroads.
So you can't roll like that. You can't roll with the load management. Management got you screwed.
No, I'm acknowledging that. That's why I'm saying I'm not paying Draymond Green. I don't want to pay Draymond Green because look, part of he wants to make $28 million. Well, if I'm paying this guy $28 million on this team, I'm expecting a big role. But I also know there's a law of diminishing returns when you overextend him, and I'm not getting the best Draymond Green come playoff.
So we're talking about. All right, we're talking about extension now. I see. I'm just talking about opting into the 1 year deal.
To the 1 year deal.
To the 1 year deal. I'm not even talking about money, 3 years, $70 million, because I would be hesitant to do that. I would. At this moment, I would be hesitant to extend Draymond Green. Now, forget Draymond for a second, because we talked about Draymond Green all week. I want to focus on Klay. I want to focus on Klay.
I think they go a lot of hand in hand, but I hear you.
I want to focus on Klay because Klay didn't work out in the summer. Steve Kerr came out and said that Klay Thompson has to come into camp in better shape. Now, I understand why he didn't work out in the summer with other players. Now, he did individual work, but he didn't get into basketball shape. And if we're going to understand Jonathan Kuminga and him being 20 years old and having some maturity issues, then the hell, I'm going to understand Klay Thompson not wanting to work out with anybody else in the summertime with in the back of his mind saying, I told my Achilles the last time I worked out in the summer. I want to go into the year. I want to guarantee myself a clean bill of health going into the season. So he struggled right off the rip.
Well, the team had to make sacrifices because of that sacrifice that he made.
But he wasn't playing back-to-backs anyway.
No.
That's where he was at. And the team, they struggled. They all struggled. And Klay came out the gates and he struggled in October. But every single month this season, this is why I push back on Klay. Had a terrible year. November, he gets up to 19 per game. His field goal percentage gets better. His three-point percentage gets better. Boom, you look at December. Okay, there's a slight dip there, but guys are hurting. He's giving you 22.5, and he's helping you beat the Boston Celtics. He's helping you beat the Memphis Grizzlies on Christmas Day. Then January, we get to January, which we all acknowledge was his best month he's had in his career offensively. February, another solid month. March, another solid month. April, 3 games, gave you 25 a game, and then you get to the playoffs, and the playoffs was all doom and gloom. I get all that. But part of the reason why Klay struggled was because he wasn't supposed to be that number 2 option. It was supposed to be Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins gets hurt with the right adductor strain, then he misses the last 25 games of the regular season. So we talk about Jordan Poole's role changing all the time. What about Klay Thompson's role change? He goes from being the 3rd option to maybe a 4th option, and all of a sudden being catapulted to the top option, or maybe the number 2 option because Steph is out. So now he's leading the team. So he had to juggle roles, and all of a sudden for Klay Thompson, it's a tough switch to turn off because you're Klay Thompson. You've got that ego. And all of a sudden everybody gets back and you're like, well, I was just leading the team in January. I was just leading the team in February. Now I got to get back to being the number 3 or number 4 option? No, that's not happening. That's part of the conversation you got to have with Klay Thompson saying, hey, look, man, this is your role moving forward, but you could still get buckets. When you look at his season, the rhetoric around Klay Thompson, I'm a little befuddled by it.
What do you mean?
A lot of people say, man, he's washed up. Okay, he had a bad series against the LA Lakers. So did Jordan Poole, and Steph Curry wasn't efficient either. He didn't hit the 3-point shot in LA as well. But we just skip Steph Curry. We just bypass him. Klay Thompson struggled against the LA Lakers. But this whole thing about his year being a struggle, I'm pushing back on that.
Well,
Klay Thompson had a dynamic season offensively.
I don't know about dynamic, but
He had one of the best seasons offensively in his career.
Shooting, yeah, I mean, it was good shooting, but like again, part of what made Klay isn't just shooting. That there's more to the
I'm
game.
talking about offensively. Offensively, he had a dynamic season. He had one of his best seasons.
Can you have a dynamic season when you are one of the main culprits for why the team started off in the first month and a half in a giant hole?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Because it wasn't just Klay Thompson.
He was a big part of it.
The vibe, we know what was messed up on. Now that they've admitted, that's on the table now.
That's for sure.
The incident in preseason had a lot to do with the slow start.
He had his moments. I'm not here to say that he was bad. I don't think he was bad this year. He had his moments. But, to say that he was dynamic this year, I think that's going too far. Maybe I'm being too literal on the word, but, that's going too far to me. And I think the number one thing, it's not like we know you can shoot. What we're saying is, dog, you don't have a green light 24/7, 365 to just hoist.
Well, it doesn't now. He's had that green light for the duration of his career. He does it now. I get that. He does it now. He's not the same player, especially defensively. Offensively, though, he had a 54-point night. He had a slew of 30-point nights, a slew of 40-point nights. So offensively, again, he had one of his better seasons of his career. And when you think about today's NBA, you look at the Nuggets, the way they're playing, the way the Heat are playing, you need spacing and you need shooting. To me, spacing and shooting is a lot more important on a basketball team than, say, having a defensive specialist or a player like a Draymond Green.
You're asking me about either or Klay or Dre.
I'm not even asking you about either or.
I think he brings value.
I'm just saying when it comes to moving forward.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson, forget the price tag of the $43 million.
No, I'm talking about I think he brings value on the court.
I think he brings a lot more value to Draymond Green.
Yeah, I think he brings value on the court. It just I need his game to adjust. I need him to adjust. That's kind of where I'm at on this one. We love the guy, but
and I think
discernment is the number one word for him.
But see, I think he will adjust. But when we look deeper into the season, when it comes to Klay Thompson, we always discuss how Jordan Poole's role changed on game by game basis. But what about Klay's role being changed? Because don't forget, Steph Curry missed 27 games.
Oh, I know.
Andrew Wiggins missed over 40 games. That's a role change for Klay Thompson.
Yeah, but Bonte, his setting throughout his career has always been, I'm going to get mine, which worked for a long time. He had tremendous success at that. Tremendous success. But as you're moving forward, it's got to adjust a little. The word is not washed. But he needs to simply adjust.
But Chasky, would you meet me in the middle here?
Yes, sir.
Steph Curry missed a lot of time.
Oh, no doubt.
Andrew Wiggins missed a lot of time.
No doubt.
So where would you want his setting at?
He
had to have the green light.
I would want his setting to be read the room. So in certain situations,
even without Stephen Curry and Andrew Wiggins.
Well, that's different. But when
that's what I'm saying.
But when those guys were out there, he was taking back final 6 minutes of all these playoff games. You could point to. I think he had 4 different moments late in playoff games where he felt like he shot you out of that game.
Okay, playoff games. The playoff games, he was all-time bad. I want to shove that to the side for a second because again, Steve Kerr would say, I don't want people to look at the Kuminga postseason or the Jordan Poole postseason. Let's look at the body of work. You look at the body of work. He was asked to carry this team for a large portion of the season. He did that. He helped carry it offensively.
And they had a winning record without Steph Curry, which is shocking.
He helped carry the load offensively without Steph Curry.
I see that.
And think about the spacing Steph Curry provides for him. He benefits more so than anybody on this roster by having a dominant Stephen Curry.
No doubt. No doubt.
So you don't have Steph Curry. And then you don't have Andrew Wiggins. And now you're playing with JP, who's trying to figure it out. You're trying to play with Dante DiVincenzo. And Klay Thompson carries a lot offensively.
Bonte, this is nothing that other teams don't struggle with. I look at someone like Ty Jones, for example. When Ja Morant was out, Ty Jones was awesome and amazing. But then when Ja Morant comes back, he has to adjust his game. And I view Klay right now not in the same exact mold as Ty Jones, but the metaphor of, there are going to be times that you're going to be the number one dog. Every night is its own entity, right? But when guys are unavailable and whatnot, you're going to have to step up to the forefront. I understand those, and that's difficult. But when we're at full strength and we're fighting for a playoff game, that's when I need you to be the most discerning.
But wouldn't that be hard to do when your team is not even together?
I'm not saying it's easy. No, you're right. I'm not saying it's easy.
Think about the Warriors.
I'm making it sound easy probably, but I agree with you. It's very difficult.
Really not wholesome since November.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
But that's what they're going to be if they're going to be older.
No, but that's why you have to make some moves.
Yeah, but that's see, that's where I'm saying.
It has to be on the moves. But hold on. January, you're not wholesome. February, not wholesome. March, you're not wholesome. April, you're not wholesome. You're not whole, excuse me. And then in the playoffs, all of a sudden you get whole, but you have a lot of variations. You have a lot of moving parts. You don't know who's going to do what. Mm-hmm. So that role change not only affected Jordan Poole coming off the bench and starting.
It affected them both.
Affected Klay Thompson just as well. I think people don't talk about that much. You are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM, and HG1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. So that's why I think when they go into next season, if Klay Thompson works out in the summer and he comes into camp in better shape, the conversation will be, hey, Klay, you're going to be the number 3 option. I want you to, when you touch the ball at first, I want you to look the pass and trust that the ball will get back to you. That's the adjustment he needs to make. And then get Andrew Wiggins involved. You don't need to take 7 shots in the first quarter anymore. You don't need to do that. Not every single game like you did in the LA Lakers series.
Yeah.
Shot discernment, fine. But Klay Thompson offensively, again, you look at his basketball card. You look at the numbers and you remember the moments here. Some of your best moments was with Klay Thompson leading the way. And you're asking Klay Thompson, after coming back in January 9th of 2022, and you're asking a guy who doesn't even play on back-to-backs, hey, I need you to carry it without Steph and Wiggins.
It's very difficult. I mean,
this version of Klay Thompson.
I understand that.
And he carried you a lot.
But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is when it's, these crucial, monumental games when you get to the playoffs to just be slightly more discerning. I mean, we're not asking the guy to completely change up who he is. Hey, I need you to play like Kareem now. I need you to play like CP3. No, we're asking him to just like, hey, instead of 7, maybe you take 3 or 4 of those shots and pass it back. Hey, when there's 2 minutes to go and 21 seconds left on the shot clock, don't hoist the 45 contested footer. That's all.
Yeah,
I think we're being a little more like I maybe it sounds like I'm being too critical, and that's not what I'm trying to do.
I think you are, because when you think about the shots, the game 4 shots were bad. I came in here and crushed them. Those are terrible shots. Those are terrible shots. He has to get better in those situations.
Yeah, and I want others. They need to get other players on the floor and need to get those guys on the roster who can help take the pressure off of him
but also,
from feeling the necessary need to take those shots.
Yeah, no doubt. Those are bad shot selections.
But there's nobody else on the floor at times. So that's, I think, where I get frustrated is you have GP2 and then you have Looney and you have Dre.
So what are you going to do?
He feels, and I feel a part of me is like, yeah, I get why you're taking that shot because these other 3 aren't going to shoot long distance.
Well, not only that, you look at the shots he did have in Game 6.
They were good looks.
Great looks.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you right with Klay Thompson taking those looks all the time? I would. Klay Thompson's one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Here's where I go like context, right? Not after a 75-game grueling schedule for the regular season, coming off of 2, significant knee and ankle injuries.
You don't want to take a wide open shots?
But he's at 33 years old. I'm just saying,
you don't want him taking wide open shots.
No, but of course I want him taking wide open shots. But what I'm saying is, if when you're paying someone that much money and you look at the roster that they have going on, you got to load manage some of these guys, and in particular him. And they didn't have that luxury this year, which to me shows why they're a flawed roster. And then by the time you get to the playoffs, it felt like his drain was all the way down to 0.
Well, he didn't play back-to-backs until the All-Star break. And at the All-Star break,
did he look fresh?
Well, he was getting cooked on defense. Not only that, but they were basically boxing and one in him. They were pressuring Klay Thompson just as much as Steph Curry in the half court. And Klay Thompson had to work so hard. That's not his game. His dribbling. You would like to see his dribbling get better? That's not his game. He's not a dribble playmaker type of dude.
Yeah,
he's not that guy. He's catch and shoot.
Yeah.
So the catch and shoot opportunities was there in Game 6. He was bad in that game, 3 of 19. But when you look at his body of work this season, I'll push back. Like, forget the money for a second. I get what he's getting paid. And you paid him before the Achilles injury, all right? You paid him after the ACL. You paid him before the Achilles injury. If he suffered the Achilles injury, you're not paying him that much money. It's just the truth. You got burned by that. But I'd rather get burned with one of the greatest shooters of all time than anybody else. Look at his body of work and the fact that they were not whole all season long, and the responsibility he was asked to carry when the main dudes were out. And then you step back and have some perspective about a season. You're saying, well, it wasn't as bad as I remembered.
Well, no, but I think in the final 2 series, there's an argument to be made, and real or not, it's hard to not think about he might have been the 7th best guard in the 2 series that they played, right? Which sucks to say out loud, and that was not something that I accounted for.
Yeah,
I expected him to be better.
That's a little steep.
Well, I mean, De'Aaron, Curry, Reeves, D'Angelo.
Oh, we add both teams.
I'm talking about, I mean, you're looking like 6 or 7, like that's not what I thought was going to happen in the playoffs.
He played bad. He played terrible. He was awful in the Lakers series. He's got to embrace your mid-range game. He's got to work on his back-to-the-basket game. But if I had to bet on one guy, if you said Draymond and Klay right now, pick a player. I'm taking Klay.
I probably would too.
I'm taking Klay.
I probably would too.
So,